Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Under correspondence, a couple items. I do have in front of us tonight the paperwork from the DCD regarding our small water and sewer grant. That I believe is in the amount of $61,648 as per manhole repairs. So I will need signatures for that. From PICO, just a normal correspondence regarding the routine tree trimming. A letter from the Perkiomen Watershed Conservancy asking us to renew our membership for $1,000. If you remember, at Carol's suggestion last year, we did that as part of our MS4 stormwater requirements, education requirements. Again, that's there for your approval or disapproval.
Do you want us to vote on that?
If you want to do that now, that's fine.
I mean, that was good bang for the buck, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so I move that we renewed our membership
Okay.
for 2019.
Second?
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. And last, from Montgomery County Elections Board, just a notice of they'll be delivering the machines on November 6th.
I just have a question about that, and I don't know if you know the answer, is, are we gonna get anything other than electronic machines? Are we gonna be able to do like these paper ballots that get scanned?
As far as I know, it's just the regular machines.
Okay.
You said you're delivering them on the sixth?
That's election day.
I thought the election day was the sixth.
They either deliver Friday or Monday.
No,
Yeah,
they're getting
right.
delivered on Thursday. They're getting delivered on
It says the
Thursday.
delivery date on the memo itself is November 1st.
Is that what it is? November
Yes.
1st,
Yeah,
okay.
which is Thursday.
All right.
Deliver on that morning, you're gonna be there.
Yep, November 1st. The date was the 6th. Okay, pick up those. Okay.
They're picking them up on the 8th.
All right.
There was a motion required to sign the Commonwealth financing, or the small grant, small project grant. Okay.
We need to move to accept the $61,000.
We have to, yes,
We do.
but there's no resolution. There's a resolution for the other one. For the planning assistance grant. So, if I could have a motion to accept the grant, please?
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. All those, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I have nothing under administrative actions. Item number 5, public comment agenda items.
Yes.
Terry Bird, Little Road, on section number 7 coming up, just a quick for upcoming meetings, just in case I have to leave before you get to that part. This coming Monday, November 5th at 6 p.m. we have our ASA Advisory Committee meeting, so public welcome. I believe there's a Parks and Board meeting that night as well, so at 7.
Is there anyone here from Parks? Do you know?
It's on my calendar, it was part of the, it's online too.
Yep, it's on the
Are you
calendar.
gonna, do you have a place to meet?
For the ASA at 6 in here.
Are you gonna meet at 6, or they meet at
Parks and
7?
Rec,
Correct.
They meet at
Yeah.
7.
So ASA first.
Is that a quarterly meeting?
It is. It's the first Monday of every quarter.
Okay. Guess we could go into reports, solicitor.
Our office worked on, in addition to the routine work that we do, we worked a little bit on B-Team Investment Subdivision, the Knight Subdivision, the Arcadia Subdivision in Land Development, and the Saks Land Development, and the Melbourne Hill Subdivision in Land Development. We've also worked on drafting a building use policy for Lower Frederick, and we worked with Mr. Peck regarding refinancing issues, and I tended to legal matters in which the township is involved. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Engineer?
Thank you. Few pieces of information here. First is, I spoke to somebody from the EPA recently regarding a water line extension beyond the township boundaries on the other side of the Perkiomen Creek The EPA has identified an area of groundwater contamination that's near Baghurst Drive and Hendricks Road. Efforts to provide public water service to the area are underway, and the EPA is considering an extension of the Schwenksville Borough Authority water line that currently exists in Babington Road. The extension would cross the Perkiomen Creek and then extend along the Perkiomen Trail towards Hendricks Road. This is still only a concept, and the permissions and right-of-way must be obtained and the design completed. So again, that's just informational, that's what's happening with the EPA and something outside of your township that may slightly impact Lower Frederick. Next, Value Engineering completed a review of parking along the public street at specified locations in Cedar Hill. The review recommends elimination of parking on the west side of Goshen Road, extending 145 feet from the intersection with Zieglerville Road. It also recommends installation of signs 30 feet from the stop signs at Berger and Goshen, and at Goshen and Zieglerville, advising that no parking is permitted here to corner. The report also considered the feasibility of parking along Zieglerville Road and provides that as an option for the board to consider. The board may want to request input from the Township Roadmaster and the Township Police Department regarding parking along Zieglerville Road. There would be additional striping necessary. For Goshen Road, no parking, the 125 feet from the intersection with Zieglerville Road. To do that, you're going to need to involve the solicitor, who would draft the amendment to your ordinance. For parking along Zieglerville Road, should you decide to do that, you would also want to work with a solicitor to draft an ordinance that will revise the current ordinance that says no parking there. Again, there would be striping and signage to incorporate there to make sure that site distances are not adversely impacted. There's a much more detailed report that was provided, issued October 25th. I'd be glad to go over any details of that if you'd like. There's also an image there that shows where the signs would go.
I am going to have questions on this, but I would like you to finish your report.
Okay, super.
Thank you.
The township received requests to install bus stop ahead signs in certain locations in Springmount. Bus stop ahead signs are appropriate when the bus picks up or discharges in a location where the approaching vehicles can't see the bus in time to stop. Each location that we evaluated had ample sight distance, so the sign installation would not be recommended. However, I do suggest the township contact each of the residents who made the request to understand what concern they had that generated those requests. And again, there was a report issued on stop signs within the past week, and I'll be happy, I'm hoping that was already forwarded. I don't know, I forwarded to the manager, and who may have had a chance to forward it to the board. If you have additional questions on that, I'd be glad to answer them.
Carol,
Yeah,
who owns the roads?
there are township roads.
So the signs, and we're not putting them up in order to arrest people. We're just putting them up in order to tell people a message, right?
Are you speaking about the parking or
On
about the bus
ahead,
stops?
the-
So the bus stop ahead, the reason that you would, the warrant for that essentially in the MUTCD is, it should be installed in advance of locations where a school bus, when stopped to pick up or discharge passengers, is not visible to road users for an adequate distance, and where there is no opportunity to relocate the school bus stop to provide adequate distance. So you don't want to have a bus stop ahead sign at every bus stop throughout the township, because now you're putting 2 signs at every bus stop throughout the township. That's going to be a lot of signs and a lot of township budget. So again, I reference back to the state, which references the federal guidelines, which is called the MUTCD, which gives warrants for installing signs. And in these locations, they don't have sight distance problems that would generate the need for those signs. I don't know what generated the request, what the concern is of people, and maybe we should follow up on that.
I understand, but if we follow up and it does look like a concern, the signs are not like the stop signs, where we're asking the police department to perhaps make an illegal arrest. We're just putting the signs up to accommodate the people in the township who think there's a problem, and who we may think there's a problem. So I'm just pointing out to the supervisors, you may want to, after you talk to the people, put the sign up anyway.
Thank you.
If I can comment on the concern, and Brian Hill, 11 Ziegler Road, I don't think the issue is the issue of a stop or a bus stop. The issue that I contend is the root cause of all of this is the consistent speeding on the side roads. You know, so it's not just like we have our please slow down signs. Those bus stop signs are going to produce the same result, nothing. And so I think the concern is looking at ways to help alleviate the issue of speeding. It's a daily situation. You know, I can hear the cars coming from 29 from my house as they accelerate. One young man who feels like he has to use his diesel truck to drag race up Zieglerville Road. I can hear him every night coming up. Last night there was a Mini Cooper that was, by the time he got to the top of the hill, he was in 5th gear and still accelerating. This is, you know, that's just 2 examples. But I think the root cause that we really need to continue to address is this issue of speeding. And sometimes it's just incidental speeding. Most people don't even realize that they're doing 45 because we're so used to traveling at the higher rates of speed today. And they feel like that they continue to use those same speeds on the smaller roads, and particularly on the streets that are used by buses. So I think that's the root cause. It's not necessarily there's a bus stop there. It's the issue that people are approaching these areas at a higher rate of speed.
Thank you, Mr. Hill, for that insight, appreciate it. Next item, again, just informational. Contractor for the Schwenksville Borough Authority has been working to install a new water line in Church Road. On more than one occasion, we've come upon the site and found open unattended excavations immediately next to the road and no traffic control in place, in addition to alerting the authority engineer to immediately resolve these instances. We have shared inspection reports with the authority engineer regarding the contractor's failure to protect public safety. Fortunately, we don't know of any accidents out there or severe issues that came from that. Arcadia construction continues with the installation of water, sewer, and storm lines under the new roads. If temperatures are mild in the next few weeks, the contractor hopes to apply base course of pavement to stabilize the roads before they get into winter. Value Engineering is preparing a presentation for the month of December to provide an overview of the proposed sanitary sewer extension on Full Moon Riverside and Springmount. And that will be an informational presentation to interested residents. Note that there have been no revisions or modifications to these plans since the permits were received in August of 2017. So those are all the items on my report this evening, but I'm happy to address any questions, and I have my parking review right here. So
Thank you. I appreciate you going through the rest of your report. So, as everybody knows, or may not know, I live on Goshen Road, and speaking with my fellow residents in the community, and some of the outlying areas as well, parking along the intersection of Goshen and Zieglerville Road can be very impactful. Anybody that comes in either direction that way will sometimes find that there will be individuals that will park on both sides of Goshen. And if you don't travel that way, it doesn't impact you as much, but if you do, you do see a large number of residents that live in that area that it would impact. There's a lot of children that play in that respective area, and I would agree with Carol's synopsis, and in fact, I would move that we move on the first recommendation. I'll read it again just so that everybody hears it and has an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments. But as Carol had mentioned, the review recommends elimination of parking on the west side of Goshen Road extending 125 feet from the intersection with Zieglerville Road, and the installation of signs 30 feet from the stop signs at Berger and Goshen Road and at Goshen and Zieglerville Road, advising no parking here to the corner.
Can I just ask for
Go for
one possible addition? I know in a lot of places when there's no parking, the curb is painted yellow. Is that something that's gonna facilitate people's understanding that you're not supposed to park there?
I would,
You can certainly do that if you wish, it's not a requirement, it's not a legal requirement.
Is it
Yes, a
helpful
lot
to
of-
kind of signal like yellow,
A lot of
don't park,
communities do
you're
that.
shaking your head?
It hasn't helped in the past, that's why we stopped doing it.
Okay. Helps me, I mean, I see yellow and I'm like.
what would you suggest, Carol?
what do you-
Well,
what do you
if you're
do?
actually installing a sign that says no parking here to corner, I think that's a lot more specific and clear than yellow paint.
Well, I would suggest you both.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
paint it both.
I see no
Could you
harm
start
in
with
doing
one
it.
and then do the other at a later time if you find that you need it?
You could do that. I mean, we could put the signs up and then if it doesn't work, then paint it out. If that'll work.
So just one other question, if it says no parking, does that mean if someone's parked there, you can call the police and have them towed
Or ticketed.
or ticketed? Okay.
Actually, theoretically, you already can because your Pennsylvania vehicle code says you can't park within 30 feet of a stop sign.
Stop sign, right.
We just all don't
Okay.
remember
No,
what we
yeah.
studied for our driver's test.
Right, yeah.
So those signs, I don't even believe need an ordinance to install those signs because you're just reminding people of state law. But you will need an ordinance and it's actually cited in the report. It's an amendment to Township Ordinance, Section 158-21 that the solicitor would prepare regarding the Goshen Road parking.
I would like to make a motion to do that. instead of-
Everything she said.
Pretty much.
I'll second it.
Any questions?
How will those residents those residents on that street receive a letter that is going up or is it just going to appear to them and all of a sudden those people that have been parking there?
Well, I think the wisest thing to do, if I'm not correct, is put the signs up and you got 30 days.
Okay.
And after the 30 days, the police
Just-
can.
Right, I just wasn't sure if the township
That's
was
the way
wanting
they
to
usually
communicate
do
to
it.
those residents
So,
by letter.
Bob?
Yeah, so just to clarify, so in front of my property on the opposite side is where you're saying they're gonna be allowed to park on Ziegler
Not
Road, is that
yet,
correct?
not yet,
That's the
Not
second
yet.
no.
Okay.
They're gonna consider whether or not to do that with
Oh, okay.
what I just heard them act on, and they'll correct me if I'm wrong, is the no parking on Goshen near Zieglerville.
I do know the police did ticket a car last week and put an orange sticker on the windshield, and then 2 days later it was gone. And they were parked pretty close to that 30-foot mark that you're talking about. Thank you.
There's a motion on the table.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I do want to just make mention, excuse me, there is a secondary recommendation talking about the feasibility of parking alongside Zieglerville Road as an option for us to consider. I think that's something we should discuss, but
Now, is
maybe
that little kind of setback right in front of the
that's the
row
deceleration
townhouses
and acceleration
that
lanes.
says no parking, but it looks like it's parking?
Right, so the
I know
decel
exactly
lane,
where that is.
we can't park here because I looked at site distances for the intersection of Goshen with Zieglerville and also with the parking access to Zieglerville. And so, looking at the site distances in each direction, we could fit 4 spaces here and 2 spaces there. But you're gonna need to stripe it clearly, remove the existing no parking signs there. And like I said, stripe it very clearly so that people don't park in places that will inhibit the people pulling out of here and pulling out of here from seeing up and down the road.
Well, again, if someone's parking in the wrong place, they can be ticketed, right? Okay.
But it's a matter of getting the pavement markings to make that clear. And again, I urge you, what I did not do in the brief preparation of this report is I did not have a consultation with the roadmaster or the chief of police or police department on their thoughts on that. So I would encourage you, before you take my recommendation and run with it, I think it would be wise for the supervisors to get input from the other departments on that one, because that's a little different than that one.
I think we should hold off on any motion for right now. We'll consult with our roadmaster and the chief of police over the next month. We can discuss it, come back at our next work session and make a decision.
Yeah, I looked at that in response, I looked at that because the board was concerned, are you taking away parking and reducing people's options there? So what I believe my task was to look at whether or not there's an option to add parking along Zieglerville Road to offset what's being taken away along Goshen. So that was my finding, but again, I encourage you to look a little further before you go
Well,
forward.
while you're here, Tommy, do you have any input on that?
Not at this time, no.
Okay.
I agree with you. On the table that.
All right, perfect.
I just comment on that, just as I'm a former auto insurance claims manager, so I would just ask that the board would take into consideration the different also size of vehicles that could potentially be parking in those locations and how that could inhibit the sight lines, specifically when you're pulling out of that roadway, and how that could impact liability on the township, and also on the potential risk of accidents in that area.
Thank you.
That's all I had this evening.
Okay. Under police, we have our meeting on November 1st, with the other Regional Police Commission, 11 o'clock to go over the plan that the state has prepared.
Is it the first or the second?
I mean, it's a second, it's a Friday, it's a Friday,
It's the second.
yeah, it's a second. Okay. That's all I have under police. Anything under public works?
I don't have any.
Okay. Under my report, you'll see Resolution 2018-33, the Montgomery County Planning Commission Planning Assistance Contract Renewal. That's up for consideration. If I could have a motion to approve.
I'll move.
Second.
Second. Okay. Any questions? All those in favor?
That's a question.
Oh,
I just have one quick question. I know there was some concern about whether or not the planning contract with the county would include the accommodation of, the comprehensive planning that we were looking to have accomplished. So I just posing that as a question, and I don't know when you review your contract, is that included or not?
That is included, yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Yeah, it assumes that, it assumes additional meetings, it assumes additional work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. For any of you also have a invoice from Gannett Planning for $20,515.66 for their continuing work at the sewage treatment plant. I am still holding two other invoices for $7,000 and $5,000.
What are they still working on?
That's from past invoices that we haven't paid that
No, but this current one, is the current one,
for the
Closing out
$20,000.
the punch list.
oh, okay. So you're asking us to pay this one, but you say you're holding other
I'm
invoices
still holding
back.
two other ones, yes.
For how much, Joe?
Those are total of $12,000.
What's going on with him right now with the,
He's gonna get back to me later this week, give me something for you guys for next meeting. This is the way we left it when we spoke the other Friday. I can call him, I can call him tomorrow and give me an update. I know, True Line's supposed to be out and stake the trees. And the trees they planted are starting to wilt.
yeah, I don't know, like something done with the rest of the noise,
Yeah,
you know, it's.
he came out, he took some